I'm gonna go to every road game, no matter what, like whether I'm playing.
The basketball community was left reeling by stunning developments that surfaced only moments ago. Reports suggest that Caitlin Clark, the dominant talent who has taken the WNBA by storm, has chosen to step away from the game entirely. The announcement follows an unexpected situation no one saw coming. Was it a personal crossroads, relentless outside pressure, or unresolved friction behind closed doors? The league stands frozen, teammates are speechless, and supporters can hardly believe it. What truly pushed Caitlin Clark towards such a dramatic decision to exit the WNBA? The impact hit the league like a seismic shock. The consequences of her exit would echo far beyond Indianapolis, affecting the entire sports landscape. It would go well beyond the Indiana fever, leaving millions of fans stunned as the WNBA's carefully built business foundation faced serious disruption. Even the most brilliant stars, however, can feel overwhelmed by constant spotlight. At just 22 years old, Clark has become far more than an athlete, while wearing her now famous number 22 jersey. She is the heartbeat, centerpiece, and driving force of the Indiana Fever. Since the league's founding in 1997, very few players, if any, have reshaped the game so quickly during their rookie season. Her statistics resemble those of long-established veterans: 5.7 rebounds, 8.4 assists, and 19.2 points per game. Yet numbers alone fail to tell the full story. In 2024, she lifted the Fever out of a 7-year playoff drought, returning them to the postseason for the first time since 2016. Still, her influence off the court may be even more remarkable. Ticket demand exploded the moment Indiana selected her first overall, rising by more than 400%. The surge forced the team to abandon smaller venues entirely. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, once rarely filled, sold out night after night. Beyond the packed arenas, television audiences that once hovered in the hundreds of thousands soared past 1 million whenever Clark played, with some games drawing over 2 million viewers, numbers never before seen in women's basketball. With what felt like a single spark, she transformed the WNBA from a sports league into a cultural phenomenon. Major corporations quickly followed, signing lucrative sponsorships crafted specifically around Clark's unmatched appeal. These were not the modest deals women's sports once relied on, but powerful new revenue streams that barely existed before her arrival in Indiana. In less than one season, Caitlin Clark achieved what decades of marketing efforts could not. She turned WNBA games into must-watch events. She wasn't just changing the Fever, she was redefining the league's entire economic structure. All of this unfolded within a matter of months, proving that one athlete can sometimes shift not only a game, but its place in the global spotlight. So what unseen pressure finally pushed Caitlin to the edge? And could it reshape her legacy? Stay tuned, her real story is only beginning. Power, pressure, and the price of fame. Caitlin Clark's influence stretches far beyond one team, having permanently altered the pulse of the WNBA. Television ratings have surged to historic levels. Merchandise sales have shattered every previous benchmark. The WNBA now commands prime television slots and major headlines from outlets that once barely acknowledged it. With Clark's presence, the league has become impossible to ignore, and she has rapidly emerged as a global sports icon. That is why whispers of her potential departure feel less like idle talk and more like a looming shockwave. What, then, could lead an athlete of her magnitude to even consider leaving the sport she loves? The answer lies in the hidden burden that comes with instant stardom. For Clark, the leap from the freedom of college basketball to the rigid structure of the professional level has meant far more than tougher competition. It has required navigating a business system filled with rules and limitations that most fans never see. Despite her enormous impact, the WNBA still operates under a salary cap that feels outdated. The maximum annual salary hovers around $250,000, a modest figure when compared to the millions her popularity likely generates for the league. Under league rules, her rookie contract ties her to the Indiana Fever through restricted free agency and team-controlled options. These protective mechanisms designed to help teams significantly limit player freedom. In other major sports, athletes often voice dissatisfaction through trades, free agency, or renegotiated contracts. For Clark, those pathways are far narrower. Ironically, the same regulations meant to preserve balance could keep her stuck, even if she feels undervalued or confined. The collective bargaining agreement governing these terms was finalized long before Clark entered the league, at a time when few could have imagined the financial force a single player might become. As a result, the league's outdated financial framework no longer reflects the true value of a superstar like Clark. Beneath the cheers, sold-out crowds, and record-breaking ratings lies a quiet tension, a gap between what she brings to the WNBA and what the system is able to give back. This imbalance isn't just about money. It speaks to freedom, recognition, and how value is evolving in women's sports. The question remains, is Caitlin willing to challenge the very structure that elevated her, or will she walk away altogether? Stay tuned, the answer may surprise you. Caitlin Clark stands at a critical crossroads, where her stardom has outgrown the system around her. For athletes whose value exceeds their contracts, the game often shifts from competition to negotiation. Legal analysts note that many of the most dramatic moments in sports history are born from this quiet but powerful struggle. There comes a moment when an athlete's true market value rises far above the rigid limits of a league's salary structure. That imbalance is clearly visible in the WNBA, where the maximum paycheck falls far short of what a superstar like Caitlin Clark generates through sponsorships, television exposure, and packed arenas. The issue becomes even sharper when one player's financial impact outweighs that of nearly everyone else, yet she remains locked into the same narrow pay scale. For Clark, whose performances are watched by millions and whose jerseys dominate league sales, this gap is not just a number on paper. It is a daily signal that the system was never built to accommodate someone of her magnitude. Beyond finances, there is a human toll as well. Professional basketball strains the mind as much as the body. Clark faces a level of attention rarely seen in women's sports history. Every shot, assist, and offhand comment is dissected instantly by commentators, amplified across social platforms, and debated by strangers worldwide. When the final buzzer sounds, the spotlight doesn't fade. It follows her everywhere. Sustaining elite performance under that kind of pressure demands more than talent. It requires extraordinary mental resilience, and even the strongest eventually feel the weight. That reality explains why talk of alternative paths has begun to surface. Overseas leagues offer compelling options, including higher salaries, smoother travel, and less intrusive media coverage. Europe's women's basketball scene, particularly the EuroLeague along with powerhouse clubs in Turkey, Spain, and Russia, has long attracted top-tier talent. These teams often pay far above the WNBA ceiling while also providing housing, transportation, and added benefits that ease the grind of constant travel. The standard of living improves significantly, arenas are full, and competition remains fierce. Australia's Women's National Basketball League has also emerged as a serious contender, offering elite facilities, strong pay, and a schedule that fits neatly into the WNBA offseason. For players like Clark, this isn't about stepping away. It's about continuing at the highest level while exploring a form of professional freedom. When freedom begins to feel restricted, what comes next? The reality is more startling than expected. Stay with us. No amount of narrative can override the facts when a league's structure lags behind its image. Caitlin Clark's annual value reaches into the millions through her undeniable role in driving attendance, ratings, sponsorships, and overall league growth. This is not speculation or hype, but measurable reality. While endorsements supplement her income, the league she helped elevate still compensates her with only a fraction of that worth. That contradiction follows her daily. She may not be the first WNBA player to face pay inequality, but she is the first to spotlight the entire league while earning a salary that barely reflects her influence. Fans chant her name in sold-out arenas. Cameras track her every move. Broadcasters build entire storylines around her presence. Yet behind closed doors, she remains trapped in a system that profits from her image without fully investing in her future. What stings most is that the lack of control rivals the lack of pay. The rookie contract she signed in 2024 offered no leverage. Like all WNBA rookie deals, it is opportunity wrapped in restriction, limited by restricted free agency that prevents her from truly testing her value. Team options further anchor her to her franchise, reinforcing a framework deliberately designed to limit player movement. Even if Clark wanted change, her choices remain narrow. She cannot force a trade. She cannot renegotiate a deal that reflects her real worth. She cannot simply move to a higher-paying situation within the league. In a system where freedom is a privilege granted to very few rather than a guaranteed right, her hands are tied. The collective bargaining agreement that enforces these rules was finalized long before Clark became the most marketable figure in women's basketball. Long before she proved that a single athlete could reshape the financial landscape of an entire sport, she became bound by outdated language that undervalues her contribution and ignores the new reality she created. The WNBA continues to benefit enormously from the Clark effect. Attendance records have been shattered, merchandise sales are soaring, sponsorship revenue keeps climbing, yet the player at the center of it all remains confined by a contract that offers her none of the freedom, financial reward, or decision-making power that her impact clearly deserves.